Hey guys, check it out. I've got some turtles here I wanted to share with you guys. These are all wild-caught turtles. I caught them amongst the year, you know, here and there. Just different creeks and ponds locally. There's stuff around here. But they're pretty cool. I usually don't keep things I find from the wild because it kind of makes me feel bad. I don't like taking them from their wild environment. And I kind of like to leave stuff there to find later. But I found these hatchling turtles. It actually started out with this red ear slider I found, which is right... Let's grab him. Here. And this guy, he's actually pretty big now. He didn't used to be this big. He started out about that big. But it started out with this guy. I found him in a local pond. And I thought, he's pretty cool. He's a good size. It was, you know, a real small hatchling. I said, we'll keep him for a while. Turtles are always kind of fun to keep for a while. And then, you know, it just kind of grew from there. Places I would go, I would find little hatchling turtles. And, you know, it kind of turned into a collection. So I got 4 different turtles here I want to share with you. And this guy is the red ear slider, like I said. And you can tell he's the red ear slider because he makes himself really obvious with that name. He has this band of red right here where his ear would be. Turtles don't really have ears, but if he had ears, it would be right here like that. And it's a very beautiful turtle. I mean, he really is nice looking. You can see his shell is all banded up with these pretty, it's kind of like green, darker green, and yellow lines all over him, which is really great camouflage for water. I mean, you know, vegetation and water and stuff. This is an extremely common species of turtle here in southern Illinois and throughout a lot of its range. And if you go to any lake around here, you see turtles basking on logs. It's almost like 90% of the time it's this guy. These guys, and they'll actually be piled up on top of each other sometimes, all fighting for some sunlight. He's pretty cool. He's a little bit aggressive. He likes to bite a little bit, but you know, it can be expected. The wild ones are like that. You know, if you catch them in the wild, they always like to bite. He's real cool. He's really, like, he's not shy at all. This guy, you know, the other turtles I have in here dive off the log. They have a little log here they sit on to sun themselves. And everybody else dives at the log, but he'll sit out there. I mean, he'll actually, I have this turtle diet I feed him that's in a little jar. And he'll actually follow this back and forth. He recognizes, I guess, the colors or maybe the sound of it. But he'll follow it back and forth around the cage because he knows it's feeding time. And then, yeah, he'll eat right out of your hands and stuff. I actually feed these guys a mixture of that turtle diet. I have some dried shrimp I feed them. And then I also throw insects in with them all the time because they're omnivorous and they'll eat literally anything. I can throw vegetables in there. They'll eat really, like, almost anything. But let's grab the next turtle. The next one looks kind of like the red ear slider. He's another extremely common species here in Illinois. This guy is the painted turtle. And he's called the painted turtle because if you flip him over and look at his belly here, this is called the plastron on him, the bottom of their shell. He's got all around the edge these really bright orange bands. It's really pretty. It looks like somebody literally took a paintbrush and just painted on him. And then on his carapace, which is the top of his shell, he also has some little drips and dabbles of what look like paint. He's actually got a little red line that runs down his back here. And these colors on the back of his shell here will fade as he becomes an adult, and he'll actually get mostly a jet black shell. Right now it's kind of an olive green, but as he gets older it turns darker and darker. And he's a little aggressive too. He likes to bite. But he looks a lot like the red ear slider. I mean, anatomy-wise and just the colors. He's got the stripes on his face and stuff. Doesn't have the red ear, but it's another very, very common species of turtle around here. You see them a lot of times with the red ear sliders basking. They don't bother each other. They're not really territorial or anything. But you can't really tell the sex of a turtle when they're this small. But this one, if you feel on his plastron here, he has a really very slight dent, and that kind of gives you an educated guess that he possibly could be a male. At this young of an age, you can never be certain until they get large enough to where the males grow their long fingernails, because the males actually grow these really big long fingernails, and they use them in courtship. When it's mating season, they'll swim backwards in front of the female and either kind of stroke the sides of her face with them or kind of drum them on her snout. And I guess it kind of gets them in the mood. It's just courtship stuff, and it's pretty neat to see. They do it underwater, and it's really graceful and real smooth, and you know, it doesn't look clumsy like you would think it would be with a turtle. These guys are pretty agile in the water. We're gonna put him down and check out this next guy. This next guy is probably my favorite one that's in here. This is the one that really made me decide to start, you know, keeping them and collecting them. This is the second turtle we ever found this year, and this guy's called the Musk Turtle, and he's really cool. This is about as big. He hasn't grown too much. The red ear slider you saw actually started about this size, and he grew a lot. This guy hasn't really grown too terribly much, a little bit. He's put on a little weight. But he's called the map turtle because if you look on the sides of his neck here and on his face, he's got this network of lines and stuff, and they look just like roads on a map. And it's really pretty. It's absolutely beautiful. This guy's actually the map turtle. There's a false map turtle that also lives in this area. But he has a little bit different markings on his face, and there's a few different ways you can tell him apart. But this guy is the common map turtle, and he's got a different looking shell a little bit. This is kind of what makes me like this guy so much, is he's got this real neat ridge that runs down his carapace here, and it actually gets kind of darker knobs on it, and it's like spiky. And then on the back of his shell here, it's like all serrated. It looks like a saw blade or something. He's really cool. This guy he's pretty skittish in the water. I mean, these guys never really calm down in captivity. So, you know, as long as I keep him, I don't know how long I'm going to keep these turtles, but he'll probably never really be used to people too much. But I got one more turtle in here, and the last one doesn't look like the rest at all. This guy, he's called the Musk Turtle, or they're also called the Stinkpot sometimes. And they get the name from this, they have these glands down here near their tail, like by their cloaca, and it puts off this real foul-smelling musk, kind of like a snake. And, oh, he's going to bite. He's got a bad attitude today. But they put that off when they're scared or, you know, threatened or something. And it's a great defensive behavior, but man, it stinks. He's neat. He looks kind of, he's more snapping turtle-like than the other ones. He's, you know, he's got the real small, his plaster on here is real small. Just like the snapping turtle. He's got like fat hanging out of all little orifices. He's a real blubbery little thing. And he spends most of his time on the bottom. Actually, I've never seen this behavior, but this guy specifically tends to bask a lot. These musk turtles usually don't climb up on logs and bask. They're kind of bottom feeders. They like shallow water where they can still be underwater but have the top of their shell laying out of the water. And that's kind of like how they bask, but since he doesn't really have any shallow water near, he climbs up and basks anyway. He's got a long neck, doesn't he? He's cool. He's got a really pretty face. His face is pointy. It's more snapping turtle looking. He's got real sharp jaws and stuff, but he's got real pretty, like, they're kind of white, and they actually turn yellow as he becomes an adult. Lines that run down his face, he's got two of them that run like that on him. It's really pretty. He actually has moss and stuff that grows on his shell here, and that actually helps him for camouflage, because the kind of environment these guys like is, like I said, kind of shallow water with, you know, weedy overgrowths and stuff, and these guys really literally eat anything. They've got a really powerful jaw. You can see his head, compared to his neck, is very, very large. It's all full of muscle. So he has a pretty powerful bite if he were to bite you. And this guy actually doesn't get terribly big. Like the red ear slider and stuff can get pretty large. You know, not like quite like a snapping turtle, but they get pretty large. Same with the map turtle and the painted turtle. But this guy actually stays pretty small. He gets bigger than this, but it's not nearly as large of a turtle as those. You would think he looks like a snapping turtle. You'd think he'd get as big as a snapping turtle, but he doesn't get anywhere near that size. He's pretty cool. And speaking of snapping turtles, that's the one turtle that's conspicuously missing from my little collection here. I have these little turtles, and I thought for sure I'd find a little baby snapping turtle sooner or later, somewhere along the road. I'd find one, and we didn't find a little hatchling at least. We found a few snapping turtles, but no hatchlings all year. It's a shame. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with all these turtles. You know, it's getting to be the end of the year here. And I always thought all year, I thought, you know, I'm just going to turn them all loose, but now that it's the end of the year, I don't want to turn them loose. I like them. You know, the painted turtle and the red ear slider would be no big deal to turn loose because those are so common around here. I could get a hatchling next year, and you know, if I wanted to keep this little collection going. But the painted or the map turtle and the musk turtle are so cool. I don't want to let them go. I like them. I kind of fell in love with them keeping them. I don't know if I want to drag them inside because actually they're living outside right now. This is just an aquarium, and they're actually getting an upgrade for an aquarium here in a little bit. But I keep them outside, so they get, you know, the natural sunlight and stuff they need to be able to create the, you know, the shell and stuff. If they don't have the UV light from the sun, they get deformities in their shell and stuff, which is a big problem with captivity. Most people don't keep them outside. But if I were to move them inside, then I have to start investing money in ultraviolet light for inside. And, you know, I don't have a filter or anything on this aquarium. I just dump all the water out. I do a complete water change about every other day just to keep the ammonia levels down on them. But if I were to bring them inside, it's harder to do water changes and stuff, so I'd probably have to invest in a filter then. And I don't know if I want to invest all that. And they're pretty cool, but water turtles can be a mess. But I'm going to get out of here.